I woke up and grabbed the phone because I wanted to try to catch the siren every month on the first of the month. The alarm, the nuclear alarm goes off, and it's like a siren that emits from Port Rusi, and you can hear it just for miles and miles. Unfortunately, I'm usually walking over by it when it goes off, but I always want to try to catch it on video. And so I thought I heard it going off. I jumped up and like go over to the door, whip the door open. Nothing. Then I look at the fucking phone. It's the second. It happened yesterday. Whatever. I was just laying in bed, waking up. Some of the I usually put on YouTube in the morning just while I'm having my coffee and shit. Some of the best stuff is happening on the channels that you've never heard of or seen, because they don't all the big ones that they jam in your feed. Mostly it's some of them are good, but it's mostly bullshit because they're all controlled kind of elements. They allow them to be the top ones, but some of the smaller guys are doing some really creative stuff. I was just watching this show here. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, but it's just funny. It's mindless, funny stuff. Cut of the Jib is the channel itself. Is the guy's like a he used to have like a news sort of program, and then it turned into like a music one. He's trying to figure out his thing, But I've been following him for a while, and yeah, it's like all the guys that are doing stuff away from the Eye of Sauron are doing the most interesting things. It's once you get above that like 100K threshold, you gotta. I mean, compromises have to be made. Some of the people that are put in there too. I was talking in a comment section about this week about not mine about how there are a lot of controlled assets on YouTube. How a lot of people here. And some know, and they're like, yes. And some, but most don't, and think it sounds crazy. But because people's idea of an asset, of a letter agency asset, is like some James Bond type character or something. And they're not. They have schlubs who run YouTube channels about movies. Controlled opposition can be for different reasons. And this was particularly about the pop culture space, the movie space. The idea is, well, especially with movies now, they were doing this DEI thing, diversity, equity, inclusion, where they were going to focus on that kind of stuff and not so much on stories, and use well-known IPs for propaganda. We've seen this happen with everything, Star Wars, whatever. They knew this was going to happen, and they knew that there was going to be some kind of backlash to it. So what they did is they put their own people there to sit in those chairs, in those rooms, in rooms that look like this, because hey, we're a nerd person too, and direct the conversation away from the people they don't want you to talk about. Because it would take 5 minutes to go, well, all right, if all these studios are doing this, who owns these studios? Oh, that guy? Oh, he owns both of them. This guy. You get it down to like 3 guys. And they don't want you doing stuff like that. So instead they create this nebulous villain named Woke Hollywood that they can talk about. Woke Hollywood, they gotta learn. They're not going to learn. Like, if you can't figure out that they're doing this stuff on purpose, they're making these things bad on purpose now, then you're a robot person. I'm sorry, but you probably don't care that you're a robot person because you don't have those kind of feelings anyway. So carry on, my wayward sons. Open this here. Yeah, there's a lot of assets, man. And once you reach a threshold, it's just like in real life. Like, someone was telling me this a while ago. I don't know how true it is today, but they were talking about if you become a millionaire or a certain amount of money, you get a visit. They come to you. Forces within, I guess, the government or whatever and they tell you what you can and can't do. Once you reach a certain amount of wealth, you are forcibly put into some kind of group where there are rules. Who knows? But I know there's definitely something like that at YouTube. Because you can see it. You can see the change. Like, once you start generating enough money for them, they want you to keep doing so. And the person usually wants to keep doing so. It's the music business the same way. Sometimes you take people that are whole cloth, invented, like plants, where a guy that works for chemical engineering, his son wants to be a rock star, so they make him one. That kind of thing. But then sometimes you can be in a group or a band, or you're doing something that gets popular on your own, and they come and they co-opt you. I used to watch it happen all the time in the music business. Even on the tertiary, like I was, of the music business, I'd watch these things happen. So it can work that way too. So that probably happens on YouTube too, where guy starts doing something, people start responding to it, then they swoop in and they take it over somewhat. But yeah, it's if you're never going to reach those kind of levels unless you somehow get tapped, a hand gets on your shoulder or something like that. Or if you do on your own, if you make it on your own, you're going to be tapped as well. Let me mix this up here. Do I want honey in this? I try to stay away from sugar. There's got to be sugar and honey, right? I don't know. I'm gonna take a fucking chance. Staying away from sugar, so I'm limited to one canned coffee a day, which I usually take when I'm walking around. It's just a kind of an experiment. It's not any kind of dietary like life thing. But anyway, they keep control over these people because they want to control what they're saying. They can reach millions of people, and this system, we'll just call it, is not going to let any individual speak to millions of people without them knowing what you're talking about. The plant thing is funny, especially in this kind of fucking genre where you're comic books and bullshit movies. You'll just see some guy show up like, oh, this is so and so. I'm not even going to use the name to point anybody out, but yeah, I'm Mr. Blue. You one day you'll get Mr. Blue in your video feeds, talking about this shit, and then a couple of days later you see, oh, Mr. Blue sitting there with Neurotic, and then you'll see him over on another popular channel like Midnight's Edge, and they just start showing up everywhere, like they've always known him. Oh, it's Mr. Blue. It's like, wait a minute. Who's this guy? He's only been around a month. That's how you can tell the plants. Yeah, and it's not just the geek sort of culture space. It's everywhere. And I know some people might hear this and go, oh, he's just a crazy guy. And that's fine. I am. So you could always say that. Like, oh, well, he's just crazy. And that makes you feel better. I think that's what my family does. Where they think about me, like, when I do something that looks concerning. Like, oh, he's just crazy. We know he's crazy because, he's been, institutionalized and he's been on medication, which I don't take anymore. But I haven't taken my medication in years. I'm not going to get into that whole thing. But the point is, there are assets on YouTube, and some of the best, most creative work is happening with people you really got to look for. And if you like them, you got to kind of find a way to keep track of those channels on your own. Because I do all the shit that they tell you to do so that I can see videos from people. And I don't see those videos. I don't. There are people, like I remember looking for Wags, Scott from Chicago, who does a lot of great stuff. He's a noticer. He notices a lot of things. Like, hey, I noticed grocery stores do this. I noticed they started retrofitting these Walmarts with these kind of things they have in prisons. He does stuff like that. And they hide his shit really. Wags Chicago, named Scott. I always have to go hunting for him. Always. Because he's saying stuff they don't want you to see. And I've got all his shit wrong and checked and all this other bullshit. And then, yet, I watched a documentary on like you know, some movie, and they'll give me pages and pages of videos about that movie. Every time I find myself watching something like that on YouTube, like a Mad Max documentary, it's like, oh fuck. Now I'm not going to see videos I want to see for a long time. It's highly controlled here. Down to the comments too. I've been having trouble with comments too. Like, I've been getting comments like days or weeks later. Like, people will leave a comment on something, and I won't get it till way later. And I think what it is it's a way to keep you not getting traction, because when someone comments, I want to get a piece of hair in my mouth. Nia's got very long hair. It gets everywhere. It's like a dog sometimes. I could probably make another Nia out of all the hair she sheds. When you get long hair, that just happens. There's nothing wrong with her. Well, I used to have long hair. It used to happen to me. But, yeah, fuck. I'm such a fucking psycho. I was just about to talk about something interesting, too. Let me get on track here. Blah, 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 blah. Hair and mouth. Long hair. Go back. No, wind back. Further than that. Further. Do I have to cut here so I can figure out what the fuck I was talking about? Yeah, comments. The way to keep you down with comments is when a new video comes out, if you get people to comment on it, it helps it in the algorithm. In the very beginning, when you first put it out, I would say maybe the first couple days. You get comments on it, it pushes it up somehow in the algorithm. But if you don't know you're getting comments on it, then you can't respond to them. Because if you respond to them, then that can sometimes bring more comments. So if they hold the comments from you in your creative studio for, you know, any amount of time, the window closes for you to be able to move that video up to the algorithm. That's how that works. And a lot of people will sometimes ask me, like, why did you delete my comment? And I'm like, I don't fucking delete any comments. I even leave the bad ones. You know, people call me a tranny and shit. Which is, you know, it's kind of accurate. I'm not anymore, but I was. So, I can't get mad at that. But, yeah, I don't ever erase any fucking comments. You know, I just don't care enough to. I'd rather talk it out with someone if they have a problem. And mainly usually they don't have a problem, and it's someone that's, you know, has something thoughtful to say. And I get to engage in a fun little conversation with them. A lot of times, like, I get really thoughtful people that really put work into their comments, or seemingly, you know, and then I'll read them and go, wow, that's pretty epic. And then I'll be like under pressure to write something as good. I'll walk around the house, go, what do I say? Because I don't want to fucking, you know, I don't want to seem like I'm not as smart as some of these guys. You got to understand. So I'm trying to think my way through it. Yes, I agree with you. It's usually a thing I like to do, because I don't understand sometimes some more complex things that people talk about. But yeah, I always appreciate that, and I always answer everyone. So it's frustrating when lately I've been uploading older videos to the second channel just to try to get a bunch of stuff on there in case I lose this one permanently. And I'm finding all these old comments that people leave. Some of them are really cool and real nice or real informative, and it's like I never would have ignored this. But that's the way that they fuck with you. Yeah, I've noticed comments on other people's videos being erased in real time because of something I said. I'll say something, usually if I say something that's edgy, it's not a joke, I'm not very serious all the time. You can't be. You have to keep a sense of humor about you here, or else I think you go into the fetal position and just, you break. So you have to keep your sense of humor. You have to keep a sense of goofiness about everything, or else you're not going to make it. That's just my fucking advice. But the comment thing is all fucked up. I don't know. Whatever. I just do what I can here. You just do what you can. Do it. You're in control. Just like in life, man. Just like around you. I'm not trying to be fucking self-help guy, because I'm definitely not. But work on what you can control. And sometimes you'll find there's other things, not control, not control, but things you can work with, you know, to try to make better. All right, that's fucking wonderful. I gotta have my coffee now. I'll do some stuff out there, and so you'll see me a bit later. Till next time, don't blame the teacher, blame the school.